Welcome back to this channel. It's another great day that we continue with the review of August 2025 BDA questions that were done. So far we have reviewed the 3 questions in this channel. We have reviewed question number 21, question number 23 and question number 24. And for this lesson we are reviewing question number 22, which was covering the financial management aspect. We shall read through and tackle the question. The question read, you're the financial analyst at Kiboko Manufacturing Company that is considering investing in a new production line. The project details are as follows. Initial investment is 25 million. Project lifespan is 5 years. Cost of capital is 9%. The expected cash flow for the production line are as follows. So we have the year, the cash flow, and they are in thousand. Additional information, 50% of the initial investment will be financed through a 5-year loan at an interest rate of 10% per annum. Loan repayment will be made in equal annual installment at the end of each year. Then number 2, the applicable tax rate is 30%. The applicable tax rate is 30%. Then number 3, the production line will be depreciated on straight line basis over its useful life. So you are required calculate the annual loan repayment amount that will clear the loan in term, then create a loan amortization schedule breaking down each year's repayment into interest and principal amount, then calculate annual depreciation charge and depreciation tax shield from the depreciation, then determine the project internal rate of return, then analyze net present value sensitivity to the following changes. The discount rate increases to 12 and year 3 cash flow decreases by 20%. So we need to do the sensitivity for that. So shall start with the first one, where we need to calculate the annual loan repayment. So you know the amount of our loan. Our amount is half, that is 25 million. 25 divided by 2, 25 million over 2, which will be 12,500. This is what will be the loan, half of it. Then the time or number of period, they are 5 years. In this case we are dealing with years. Then our rate, the rate is 10% here, 10, the interest rate. Remember 9% was the cost of capital. 9% was the cost of capital, but for the loan is the rate of 10%. The loan was for 10%. Our loan is for 10%. 10% here, 10%. And what we need is a PMT, the annual repayment. We call it the PMT, annual repayment, the PMT, which we take the PMT as a formula here. We start with the rate, then the number of period, they are 5 years, and the PV we normally put a negative because it takes it as an outflow. You put a negative, then you click this and you enter. So shall be paying 3297, 3297 469, 3297 469 as our amount of repayment. Annual repayment will be 3297 469. That one was giving you 2 marks for that. It was awarding you 2 marks. And part B, you are to create the loan amortization, breaking it into interest and principal amount. So here we shall have the year. We shall have our year starting from year 0, then 1 up to year 5, just autofill up to year 5. So we shall have our PMT here. Then we shall have our interest. Then we shall have our principal, and we shall have our balance. Our PMT starting from year 1, it's a constant. So this is a constant that we shall be paying each year that way. Then the running balance at the beginning, we are starting with 12.5. 12.5. This is where we shall be paying the interest on. The interest will be pegged on this, so that here our interest will be this multiplied by the rate. The rate is constant for the interest, so we shall only lock the interest. The principal here, it will be the PMT, which is constant, minus the interest. Minus the interest. Interest will be changing that way. And the balance, running balance will be this, and you minus the principal. It's only the principal that reduces the end balance. Only the principal that reduces the end balance. And you highlight this, and you autofill from here. You autofill, and you'll find that your value should be 0 at the end of year 5. So that will be our loan amortization. That was supposed to be the loan amortization schedule, and it was awarding you 6 marks. That loan amortization, 6 marks for that. Then the other part of this question, part C now, if I were to calculate the annual depreciation charge and depreciation tax shield. So our depreciation charge, depreciation. So depreciation charge, we are told that in where the production line will be depreciated on straight line basis over its useful life. Remember, the project lifespan was 5 years. The project lifespan was for 5 years, and the initial investment was 25. This is what we shall depreciate. So it will be 25 million, and you divide by 5 years. So each and every year we shall have a depreciation of 5 million. Then the tax shield, depreciation tax shield, depreciation tax shield, depreciation tax shield, which will be 30% of this. Savings on depreciation by 30%. The tax shield, yeah, this will be the tax shield, and this will be the depreciation tax, the depreciation charge, and the tax shield. And the number D of this, number C. Okay, so it is going to determine the project internal rate of return. So we continue. That was part C. So you'll find that instead of part D, they went to E, but they are adding up. I think it is error in numbering. There is no D. Yeah, because this is 4, this is 6, this is 10, this is 10. So it was an error in numbering. It was an error that was there in numbering. So determine the project internal rate of return, the IRR. We need to determine the IRR. So for our internal rate of return, the first thing we determine our net cash flow. Yeah, our net cash flow is what we need. And I can have my year 0, year 1, up to year 5. Up to year 5. Yeah, up to year 5, that way. Just reduce this. Just reducing these columns. Some of the columns are too big. Yeah, I think that one is okay. And we shall have our cash flow here. Our cash flow. And year 1, I will just use the full values. These are in million. Yeah, I'll have 12,000, then 15, 18. So 12 million. Then 15 million. Then 18 million. Then after 18, 20 and 25. 20 and 25. Yeah, that way. That way. Yeah, 12, 15 million, 18, 20 million, and 25 million. That way, that is our cash flow. And we have the finance cost or the interest. Remember, we had financed using what? So the interest expense. We have the interest expense, and our interest in year 1, in year 2, in year 3, in year 4, and year 5. Don't forget that we are financing part of it using the loan, so we are paying the interest, and we are having the depreciation charge, which is a constant of 5 million. Depreciation charge, which is a constant of 5 million. Yeah, so that we shall have earnings before tax. So the cash flow that we have, this cash flow is earnings before interest and tax, EBITDA, earnings before interest, depreciation, and tax. So we less the depreciation, we less the interest, so we get earnings before tax. Earnings before tax here. So we shall minus the 2 that way. So whatever we get is our earnings before tax. Earnings before tax. Then we shall less our tax. We less our tax. Remember, our tax rate is 30%. Yeah, our tax rate is 30. You can just put it on this side, or I can put it somewhere. Yeah, just somewhere. So I can have my tax rate here, my tax rate, which is 30%. My tax rate, which is 30. So okay, yeah, there is no problem with having it here. Let me just use it here, my tax of 30%, so that here it will be this by 30. I will lock the 30% here, and you can go the route of tax shield because already we have the tax shield there. Then you shall have earnings after tax. Earnings after tax, we minus the 2, our earnings after tax, that way. Then we add back the depreciation. The depreciation, because the depreciation is only for the purpose of taxation. Supposed to add it back and get your net cash flow. Yeah, so we have our initial outlay here. Initial outlay, and our initial outlay here is 25. Can put negative 25 million as our initial. We get our net cash flow. Net cash flow. Our net cash flow here. So net cash flow will be this plus this. Okay, earnings, depreciation. Okay, so here I'll just pick one. That will be our net cash flow, but here will be this plus this, the 2. Earnings after tax plus the depreciation, tax shield, that way, and that will be our cash flow. That will be our cash flow, so that from there we can get our IRR. Our IRR, remember, it takes the full values. Our IRR from the initial, all of them, and you enter, and you just convert this to percentage, and you'll get that we have an IRR of 39%. We have an IRR of 39%. So our IRR is 39% for this question. So we had an IRR of 39%, and that is how that part E. It was supposed to be part D, just the way they numbered it. supposed to get an internal rate of return of 39. Then the other part for sensitivity now, that is part F. Analyze the net present value NPV sensitivity to the following changes. And the first one is the discount rate. The discounting rate increases to 12%. So the first thing, before you get the NPV sensitivity, you have to get the base. Get the base case. Base case NPV. And remember, for the base case, we have the net cash flow. So we shall have the year. Yeah. Talk about year 0. Year 0 to year 5. This is a number. That is year 0. So we have the net cash flow. This is 25 million. And these others, we have the values as our net cash flow there. So that means our NPV at the current WACC is 9. The current WACC is 9%. 9% is our current WACC. 9%. The cost of capital currently is 9%. That's what we want to use to calculate the base. So that here our NPV, this is a base case. It will be NPV. So the rate is 9, and these are our values. And you less the initial of 25. So you'll find that we have a base NPV of 26,117,785. So this is the base. Then we need now to find if the discounting rate increases to 12. Yeah. So the new NPV, if WACC is 12%, WACC is 12%, so our net cash flow will remain here. The net cash flow remains. So our NPV will be NPV. So the rate now becomes 12, and the values do not change, and you minus this, you minus that, and you'll find that this is our new NPV. Our new NPV becomes this. So percentage change in NPV. Percentage change in NPV. So it changes from this minus the base. The base was 26 divided by the base. That way. So it reduces by 16%. That's how sensitive it is. Analyze the net present value sensitivity to the following changes. If the discounting rate increases to 12, the NPV reduces by 16%. So this is if discounting rate increases by 12%, the NPV decreases by 16%. That's how sensitivity is. So it increases by 12, NPV reduces by 16%. Then the second part of it is where the year 3 cash flow from month 3. So the year 3 cash flow decreases by 20%. Year 3 cash flow decreases by 20%. So here the focus will only be year 3. We'll just focus with year 3. So year 3. So if our year 3, our cash flow now, our cash flow for year 3, it reduces by that. So it means what we had as our cash flow for year 3 was this. We shall multiply by 1 minus 20%, or we multiply by what? 80%. I think the better one will be to multiply by 80. So 80, it means it will reduce by 80%. Then the interest expense, our interest expense, our depreciation will remain, depreciation charge. Our earnings before tax here, so it will be that way. This will be our earnings before tax. So our tax at 30%, is on by 30%. So earnings after tax, that way. Then the depreciation, we add it back, the depreciation charge. We get our net cash flow here, our net cash flow. So our net now becomes that, it becomes 11. So the cash flow now for the other years, from year 0, 1 up to 5. So our net cash flow, so here still is 25. So you'll just fix this, what we had for the other, but here now we shall change year 3. It becomes 11. Year 3 it becomes 11. So remember now, when you're dealing with sensitivity, we normally change one item at a time. So for the first one, the discount rate is the one that increases to 12. Analyze the NPV sensitivity to the following changes. Discount rate increases to 12. But when you're dealing with the second one, year 3 cash flow decreases by 20. So when you're decreasing year 3, the discounting rate remains constant. We normally vary one item at a time. So in this case, our discounting rate will still be 9. Our WCC will still be 9. The initial one will still be 9%, and therefore our NPV here will be NPV. Our rate is 9. Our rate is 9, comma, our values, and you minus the initial. That way. Remember, this is not 0, this is 9. That way. So this is our new NPV. So percentage change here, percentage change in NPV, So we shall take the new one minus the base. Our base is here over the base, and you convert this to percentage, 7%. So that means if year 3 cash flow here, I will say if year 3 cash flow, if year 3 cash flow reduces by 20%, just by 20%, the NPV the NPV reduces by 7%. That's how sensitive it is. That if your 3 cash flow will reduce by 20%, the NPV will reduce by 7%. So that is how the question was supposed to be tackled, and you can see up to that I've taken 25 minutes. So there were questions that were time bound. You could easily be able to complete it within the requisite 36 minutes per question. Yeah, remember here I'm doing while I am explaining, so I'm taking time. So it's a question for a student, you can take 25 or maximum of 30 minutes, and that's how the question was supposed to be done. Remember, the September intake is still in progress. Yeah, kindly consider joining us for September December semester, and we shall be able to take you through BDA with ease, and I believe you'll be able to pass one term. Yeah, you'll be able to pass it in one term. And that is it for this. Kindly consider subscribing if you are new to this channel. So find in the description our details how you can be able to join us. Thank you.